started the recording now.
Thank
So
you.
here it is. So first you have to go to the website called, can you open the website?
Yeah.
So you have to go to this website, greenshot.org. You will find a download button. Download it, install it. It's pretty straightforward. And after you install, it will say finish. And after that, you would have an icon here. Okay. But this icon, you need not do anything. Or you can, if you are good at customizations and all that, you can customize it the way you want it. But by default, after you install, you click on the print screen. Selvanandini, click on the print screen. Yeah, as soon as you do that, you will get a cursor like this, where you can start and stop wherever you want. So you can click and drag to select how much ever you want. Okay, are you seeing the UI? So wherever you want, you just select it and leave it. The moment you leave the cursor, it will give you options like this. So if you're okay with the selection, you can directly go with save as. Okay, or you can say if you want to edit it, go to the open in image editor.
Okay.
And here, if you want to edit it, you can use this option and then file save. If not, directly you can use the save as option and save it. All right, clear everyone? So save it as
Both
an
image and
yeah, just the image you do it this way. And
okay.
for the code, you just take the code folder, zip it and upload it. All right.
Yeah, Vinod, currently I kept like this. I mean,
Yeah, this is
that
the right
Java
way.
file alone. Yeah.
You can do this. You can do this.
Okay.
So if you have multiple files, put it into a folder and then zip it.
Yeah. Again, coming to this customer thing, I made it like this.
Yeah. So for
this
today,
is my
you just
first
put
console. Yeah.
Okay. So for today, this is okay. For tomorrow onwards, just put it image by image. Okay. I've given you a method how to do it. All right.
Okay.
Can you open and can you also open the submission file, Google form?
Yeah. 1 minute.
Yeah. Edit
You
your
want me to edit?
Yeah. So everyone, if you have already submitted, please edit your responses. Do not do a submit again. So that will create two responses. Okay. Okay. So here you can see you have option now for add file for if you have multiple images. Okay. Do you want me to explain anything more here? How to do it?
No, thanks. No, that's okay.
Vinod, if I finish the other two later on, is it possible for me to submit here?
Yeah, that's why I showed you the option edit it. You can edit it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, for code, we have to submit in the drive.
No need. You can submit it just here.
Just notepad, that's enough.
What in the notepad? The code
the
is
program.
it? Yeah, fine. The way it's up to you. The way how you want to share it with me. But the output image it has to be like this.
Okay. She has uploaded the .java file here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like that, we have to do it. Not the we don't have to zip it.
For the code, if you have single Java file, just upload that. If you have multiple, zip it and upload it. As simple as that.
Okay. And Vinod, can I do it by 10 today? I wasn't able to complete the whole assignment. I wanted to complete it.
Yeah, you can do that. Okay. And please do also remember your time, the time you're submitting and editing are also tracked. Okay. So please make sure you don't slip the deadlines. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, from here I took my Java file and I upload that file in your response.
Yeah.
I mean, our
So
assignment submission.
just in case if you want to upload all the four, in future, if you have multiple files, yeah, you will definitely have. Can you click on the src folder? Yeah, click that. Right click that and just zip it. No.
Okay, only this one.
Yeah, just right click, zip it. Just first option.
Actually, it will ask for this one.
Okay, if you need a tool to zip, use the 7-zip. Close this.
Okay.
I'll show you that also. Go to the browser. Go to 7-zip. Just say 7z. Yeah, 7-zip download. Just download this. This is a free tool. With this you can download and install. Okay. Yeah.
The output images you want us right now to upload, right? The way you showed from Git. Okay.
All right, everyone clear on how to do the assignment, how to submit it? Because from tomorrow onwards, I don't want anyone asking questions like how do I do it, how do I submit, because this will be the format of the Google form going forward. Every assignment will have a numbering starting with 1. So far we have gone till assignment number 5, and the same number would be reflecting on your Google form as well. So it should match. See here, you have a numbering for every assignment, right? So the same numbering will be reflecting in Google form, and the same numbering everyone should follow on while submitting. Okay. So the assignment 3 here should reflect the image assignment 3. Am I clear?
Yes, Vinod.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyone having doubts on how to submit the assignments? You can ask me now. Please don't ask me tomorrow.
Vinod, I did it with the snipping tool. So do you want me to do it again?
Any tool is fine.
Okay.
I just need an image.
Okay.
All right. Shall we proceed?
Yes.
Okay.
One question, Vinod. We are doing on the form as well as Drive, right?
Yeah. So moving on. So today we'll see about inheritance. So let me choose someone who can interact with me. Give me a minute. Sudarshini, can you hear me?
Vinod?
Yeah, I would like you to interact with me today. Can you?
Okay.
Yeah, sure. All right. So moving on. Yeah, Sudarshini. So do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So today we'll be talking about inheritance. Can you give me an overview of what is inheritance? What you know? Doesn't mind if you don't know.
You inherit properties from your parents.
Yeah. So that is inheritance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So now, inheritance is a mechanism where a new class is derived from the existing class. So yesterday not yesterday, a couple of days back, I think I was explaining how it is done. You have a parent, you have a child and all that, right? So that is actually inheritance. And by default, all the properties of the parent is being acquired by the child. The parent is the properties and the methods. Okay, properties, I mean the variables, and the methods are the functions. Okay. And the class which is derived is called a subclass, and the parent class is called the superclass. Okay.
Okay.
Clear? So this is an example where we have an animal, and below that we have a dog and a fish. So the animal can have a move function, and for a dog you can customize it like a walk or a run, and for a fish you can customize it like a swim. So this is an example where you're trying to map a real world scenario into the OOPS concept of inheritance. Every animal will move, Okay, so the move function would be defined in the animal function, animal class, and the dog, you can have a specific definition like a walk and a run, because dog walks and runs, but fish doesn't do a walk and a run, so fish doesn't have those functions. So for that reason, the walk and run, that is, let me point out here. So this move function is common to all animal, so it comes in the animal class. The walk and run is actually specific to the dog alone, because fish cannot walk and run, right? On the same lines, dog cannot swim. So any function or a property which is specific to that particular category of objects, that is class, you keep it within that class. Anything which is common across all, then you move it to the parent class. In this case, all right? Clear so far?
Here, fish is extending animal.
Yeah, fish and dog both are extending animal. I'll show you an example. Okay.
Okay, Vinod.
Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so this was yesterday's classroom. Okay, here I will create a, this is the default package. Let me right click, new. I'm just creating a new package called inheritance. Inside that, I'll create a new class. Okay, so first I'll be creating an animal class. Okay, and yeah, or before that, I'll just say I'll create a new main class. I'll just call it main entry class. Okay, and have a public static void for it. Finish. Okay, just to confirm it is working, I'll do a system.out print line. Run this. Okay, so far you have I've just created a package. You know what is a package?
It's a collection of classes.
Yeah. So you're grouping the functionality. It is a layer. It is a classification above the classes. You can group some of the classes and put it into a package. And the reason it's called package is because there are ways you can export it separately into a file, jar file, and move it into a different project also, as and when needed. Okay, so let's not go into that part as of now. That's not needed. Just now I just told you what is a package, and I just created a new entry file. Okay, now let's create a animal class. Right click, new class. Okay, I'll just say enter. So we have an animal class here. So what do we do next? I'm sorry, who was I interacting with?
Sudarshini, it's me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Now we have to create the method functions.
Yeah. 1 minute. Well, okay. So what all functions do you want? First of all, shall we create a constructor?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just put some private variables and a constructor. I'll show you an example. Okay. I just have a string name integer, brain, body, size, and weight. Okay, and the constructor will accept these parameters. And it will just assign it to these things. Just like the VIP customer yesterday, I requested for 3 parameters, right? Here I have 5 parameters. Okay.
Brain. Yes.
I'm just giving it some name, but you can. This is just trying to match it to, to a real world. But these are all fictitious. Okay, you need not worry about what it is. There's something.
Actually, Vinod, I haven't used this keyword for constructor in my program.
I'll come to that. It's okay. I'll come to that point. Okay. As of now, you understood so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll come to this keyword soon. Okay. Now, how do you access it? How do you instantiate a dog? Or sorry, an animal?
Animal.
Where can I do it?
Yeah, you can. Object. Set a method.
Yeah, I'll go here. Go to the main class here. Here I can do animal. This is the type of it.
Reference.
AI
is equal to new.
Equal to new
animal.
Okay.
Bracket.
Now it will accept some parameters, right? So
Name.
So here when I do a control space, here it is telling what all it is requesting. Okay. String name. So I'll give it a name as animal. Then next parameter.
Brain.
So I'll just give some 1,1,5,5. Okay, something. So this is animal, right? So now this is what is going to be called. Let's run it. You won't see any output. It will just say working fine. Now just to confirm the constructor is called, I can do system.print, right? System.out.println. Shall we run this now? Do you think this will be printed?
Yes.
Yeah. Fine. If you have another constructor, okay, it will give you error if the parameters are the same. Assume you don't have maybe brain in this. I'll just remove the brain part. Now it will not throw an error, but brain is not defined. So what I'll do, I'll just give it a default value as maybe 2 or just one brain. Okay, so now we have 2 constructors doing a thing. So I'll call this constructor 1 called and constructor 2 called. Okay. Yes. Now the output would be constructor 1 called because we are passing 4 parameters. If I remove one of the parameter here, it will be constructor 2 is called. Is this part clear? This was yesterday's assignment, right?
Yes.
Yes, Vinod.
All right. Now let's proceed with the inheritance part. So now we have created a dog, animal, right? Now let's give some functions to this animal. Shall we?
Yes.
Vinod, one question about the constructor. You said to have the first constructor to be empty, right?
Empty, I mean empty parameters, not empty. So what I meant was, let me do it here. Copy this. 1 minute, I'm explaining. Without any parameters,
yeah,
everything would be just default. Name would be empty. All this would be 1 brain, 1 body, 1 size, 0 weight. And this is constructor code. And how do you call this? Just by saying animal equal to, I'll just animal 2 equal to Let me make this animal 1 or animal, and this will be empty. This is an empty constructor. Okay. So for the first time, animal constructor 2 is called. Second time, the animal constructor empty is called. This is what I meant. Any doubts?
I have a question, Vinod. This is Samira. Like for this default constructor, the output will be obviously 0 and null, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you have you asked in the assignment?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's fine. Thank you.
I have a question also, Vinod. This is Ruchi. So in the animal class, we are saying in the constructor this dot name. Even if we write without this, like name is equals to name, is it still?
Yeah, that will also work. I'll come to this keyword shortly. Until then, please hold on. Okay.
Also, is it okay to use public also instead of private?
Yeah, it is. We'll come to the access modifiers and all those today. So hold on your question till then. Okay.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute, please. Sorry. Okay, all right. So let's move on. Now, next is let's give some functionality to animal. All right. So I'll create a function called it as move. Okay, and this is taking a parameter called speed, and based on whatever we send, it is going to print like this. So how do we call this function? Sudarshini, how do we call this? Sudarshini, you there?
Yes.
How do we call that function now? We have created a function inside animal. How do we call it? Sudarshini, any problem?
Yes, I don't know the answer. Thinking.
Like object dot method?
Yeah, animal dot, we should be able to access.
Animal dot move, right? And
oh,
give
you
it
mean
some.
How do you call the function?
Yeah. So yeah. So you can see animal dot move function is called here. Do you see that?
Yes.
All right. Now we have this function inside animal, right? Now let's create a inherited class, shall we? How do we do that? Right click, new class. Let me create a dog. Okay. Now you can finish it like this. Okay. And here you can say dog is going to extend, right? Dog is going to extend animal. So you can say extends animal. Right? You can do this.
Yes.
And you can actually, let me just say, okay. Let me say, give me a minute. I will say some specific functionalities here. Like animal has eyes, legs, tail, teeth, all these extra. Okay. Ignore this. I'm just creating a constructor for now, and I'm just telling this. Then I'll say system.out.println. I'll say dog constructor called. All right, and I'll go back to the main. Now I'll create a dog here. Okay. Give me a minute. Let me take some coffee. Yeah. I've just created a dog and I've given some parameters. Now you can see dog constructor is called here, correct? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Another way I'll tell you. Let me do it for the fish. Right click, new, class. Instead of just leaving it as just empty, you see the super class here, which says every class is derived from Java Lang object. Here, you can just remove this, okay, or you can even browse it. Here you're not getting it, fine. But here you can just do a animal here. Okay, and once you do a finish, by default it will bring you this here.
Animal. Yes.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
And let me put some constructor for fish. I'll explain the keywords, super, this, everything. So hold on. Till then, just ignore that. Similarly, for the fish, I have some kind of thing. And here, let me put a constructor statement system.print dot out dot print. Okay, and let me go back to the main function. And here, animal. Sorry, I need to go to the main. Just like the dog, we need to create a function for fish. You can name it anything. I'm just naming it fish or dog. You can name it. Name new fish. It takes a name. This would be fish one or golden fish or something. And these are integers, so I'll just give 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Just default. You can default to anything. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So when I call this now, fish constructor is also called. Okay, I just confirm these two things. Dog constructor is called, fish constructor is called. Now let me explain few things. Okay, before I do that, if someone is confused, let me recap what we did. We created a new class with a public static void main, and we created an animal class which is not inheriting from anything. It is inheriting by default from the Java object. Okay, then we created a fish class and a dog class, both inheriting from animal. Okay, so we did this one. We have animal class, from that we have derived dog and fish. Animal has some functions, and dog and fish has some extra functions. Okay, so that is what we have done here. Now what are those extra functions? I'll explain that. Okay, as of now we have just created some constructors. Okay, and just the move function is there for animal alone. All right, now let's talk about this keyword. Okay, I think give me a minute. Yeah, so keyword this is commonly used in case of a constructor. Okay, and what is that this? This refers to the current instance. Let me repeat it. This refers to the current instance. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just explaining it here. Give me a minute. Yeah, so the super actually represents the super class. Okay, so when you have a parent, in this case animal, and when you have a child, in this case dog. Okay, if you want to refer to the dog instance, you will do this. If you want to refer to the parent, you will say super. Okay, so that is the main keyword.
Yes.
This is a keyword to refer to the current class, and super is a keyword to represent to the parent class. Okay, and this is also used to refer to the current instance. Okay, let me explain this in the code now. So when I say this dot ice, I have the same variable name here. See, ice is here also and here also, correct?
Yes.
So if I don't use this, okay, now you yourself, I mean, it may not give some compile errors, but you don't know which ice is this and which ice is this, correct?
Yes.
So for this reason, to be specific, if you use this,
Yes.
it means to say that you are referring to the current instance, that is this class, this ice. And whenever you're using without anything, you're referring to the local variable.
Okay.
All
yes,
right. Understood why we use this? Yeah.
I don't understand what is a current instance in here. Like, do you go to when you go to main entry .java file?
Okay.
The instance,
One minute. So, Ruchi,
sure.
what is your name? Ruchi, just answer my question. What is your name?
Yes, Ruchi.
And if I ask the same question to Samira, what will she say? What is her name?
Samira.
Samira. Right. Now, if I create a human class and give it a variable name, and if I say this dot name, it will give it Samira for Samira's instance, and for Ruchi, it will give Ruchi's instance. That is what this means by. So the local for that particular class. Okay. Well, I don't say Ruchi's name. I don't call it like that. I'll just say what is your name. Your refers to your particular context, right? So this refers to its own class context here.
So can you show me the main entry.java file?
Okay. Here. Now here also, if I say no, I think this cannot be used in a static, so that's not possible here. So what I'll do here is I'll come back to this here. Now if I say brain, see, yeah, you can see brain is here and here, correct?
Yes.
Just for your confirmation, I'll just rename it to brain1. Okay, now you can see these two are giving errors because when I say this, it is not going to accept this parameter. I mean the input parameter. It is referring to the class variable with the name as brain. So that is why these two are giving error. Okay, let's make it simple. Are you still confused? You want it to be even further simple? Ruchi?
Got it, Vinod.
So one last step, I'll just explain what it is. So instead of brain, I'll make this B. I'll remove this here. Everyone clear so far? You have a variable by name brain, and you're assigning it to the, I mean, you're getting an input and you're assigning it to brain, correct? Correct,
yes,
everyone?
Yeah. Yes, Vinod.
To make it, see, when I say B here, what happens is, in the constructor here, when I say animal, or this is for the animal, right? Yeah. So when I say new animal, do you see this here? Third function. It is quite small, but try to see this. It will say int B. So the outside world or the outside class, you don't know what is B, right?
Yes.
So in order to make it easy to understand, we use the same variable name. Instead of keeping it B, let's keep it brain. Now comes the question, you are confused, which brain is which one? Is it the local variable brain or is it the class member brain? Okay, to make it clear, instead of just saying brain equal to brain, what do you mean brain equal to brain? It's not same, right? So to make it specific, when you say this dot brain, it means the class property brain, and when you just say brain, it is the local variable. Clear?
Yes, we are.
Everyone clear? All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now coming to the next point, we were talking about inheritance, right? And it's okay, you understood this keyword. Now, what is a super keyword? Super keyword is used for calling the parent. Okay, now when talking about dog, here we have used the super keyword. Super refers to the super constructor. Okay, here we can see that dog is accepting these many parameters. It is accepting name, size, and all that. Let me just put an enter here. So we can see totally it is accepting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 7 variables. Or more than that, is it?
8.
8, yeah. So it is passing some of them to the super class and the remaining it is sitting here. Because the name is not defined for the dog. Every animal will have a name, right? So it is defined in the dog class, animal class. Okay, and in the animal class, we have a constructor which is taking name, brain, body, size, and weight, correct?
Yes.
Here. So to call this function, okay, I could do two things. One is instead of super class here, super function here, I could say super dot okay. I have to explain change something. Please don't ask me any question on that. I'll tell you what it is. Okay. I'll just make this protected so you're public. Okay. Now here, when I say super dot, I can find the name equal to
Animal.
no name. So now I cannot say this dot because dog doesn't have, or even this will work because it is an inheritance, it will work, so ignore that. So I can say this dot name equal to name, but this doesn't have a local variable name, right? But when I say this dot name, this animal, sorry, the dog has derived everything from the animal, correct? So
yes,
it has the name property. I'll prove it in the main entry here. So you can see that animal doesn't have the name, right? But, sorry, the dog doesn't have the name. So when I go to the class here, dog, fish, whichever I choose, will have a name. Do you see this?
yes.
Even though it is not defined there, it is inheriting everything. Okay, that is the first part. Now, if you want to specifically call the superclass, that is the parent class, okay, you have to use the super keyword. Okay, sorry, not here. See, when I say this dot name, it works here. When I say super dot, it is giving error because this is the animal class and it doesn't have any parent class. It is derived from the object. If you say super dot, it is going to the object class. So actually I need to do the super in the child class, correct? Here. Okay, when I do a super dot name, it is actually going to call the animal dot name, this name. Yeah. Clear? Guys, yes, no, Sudarshini?
Can you please explain again?
Okay. I'll just type it here. First we learned animal as parent, or let me type it in the main class here. Okay. I'll just run this. Is there any error? What is the error? Okay, I'll just type in the comment here. Okay, now you know animal is parent.
Yeah.
Clear? Dog and fish are child.
Yes.
Clear? This is a keyword. Correct?
Yes.
This refers to the current instance. Correct?
Yes.
Super is a keyword. Super refers to the parent class. Clear so far?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Now, from the dog class, if you want to call parent, for example, you see here dog has move, right?
Yes.
Correct?
Function for mode.
Yeah. So if I want to say, if I want to use that inside the, I mean, animal has a move class, right? So if I want to specifically do anything with that, I can say super dot move. So it will call the parent class.
Okay.
I cannot say this dot, or can I? Let me check. I don't get the option. I do get the option for move. But if I, okay, let me go to the, I mean, I'll explain that later. Okay, but this refers to the current and the super refers to the parent. Hold on till here. I'll give you an example. It will be easy for you to understand. Okay, now what I'll do, I will do the concept of overriding. Okay, I'll put in an annotation called @override, and what I will do, I will copy this move function here from the parent class. I'm still having it in the parent class. I'm overriding it here, and I'll just rename it as dog.move. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
clear?
Vinod.
So
yes, Vinod.
Now here, okay, so far so good. Now I'll go to the main class here. Here we are having animal.move, right? On the same lines, I'll do a dog dot. Okay, let me run this. Let me, okay, run this, yeah. So you can see first animal.move is called and moving at the speed of 10. Next dog.move is called. Correct?
Yes. Yes, Vinod.
So far you are clear, everyone? Anyone having doubts? Because I'm going to make it a little bit complex now.
Hi Vinod, Swapna here. Hello?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, hi. So when you use this dot is basically for the variable, right?
No, this is a keyword referring to the current instance. It is not for the variable or not for the method. You can use anything.
It is referring to the instance variable, right?
Yeah. See, it is referring to the instance variable. Yeah, current instance.
Yeah. And when you tell super is a keyword
to for the
Let me put it
parent.
simple. When I say you, it refers to you, right?
Yeah.
And when I say your parent, it refers to your parent. Correct?
Yeah. Right.
Just try to equate it to that. You means this.
Right.
Whatever is yours, it is this. Whatever is your parents, it is your super. So when I say
by using super, we can access the parents method as well as the constructor.
Yeah, anything we can use. Anything.
Okay.
I'll come to that part.
Okay.
Slowly, one by one, I'm coming. Okay.
Okay.
Vinod, I have a question.
Yeah, Ruchi.
If we do dog.move and if we don't override move, then will dog.move still work?
Yes, it will. So that's what I'm doing now. So what I'll do now, I will remove this override. I'll just comment it out. And now if I run it, both are using animal. Clear? Not clear.
No, Vinod, can you explain it again?
Where did I put the comments? Yeah. Who was it who did not understand? Can you give your name? Sorry.
Samira.
Yeah, Samira. So far, whatever I've written till line number 8, you have understood?
Yes, Vinod.
Yeah. Now, when I say animal dot move, okay, I'll come back to yesterday's example. Okay. Now, I'll just maybe I'll write my own name here. Okay, I'll say Vinod is a Hindu. Okay, and where did this Hindu come from? It came from my parent. Now, if I override it, okay, and if I become a Christian, Vinod is a Muslim or Christian. Okay. Now I can override it. I have the option. It is up to me to override it. Okay. On the same lines, what we did here was animal has moved. So by default, dog will use that move.
Okay.
If dog decides to override, then dog's new move will be called. Clear?
Okay. So in that dog function, you're going to change you add another function called move.
In the dog class, I'm adding a new function.
Adding a new function called move. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm just giving it a annotation @ override.
Okay.
Okay.
So it is override. So when we override a method, we should give this @ override.
Actually, it is not compulsory. Okay, but giving it is a good practice because the compiler becomes sure which one to call.
Okay.
Just like I don't have to give the keyword this right here, but if I give it, it's better. Just like that, @ override is a good practice of giving that annotation. It helps you in some compilation errors, and the compiler understands better.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Clear, everyone? So far, what I did? Inheritance.
Yes.
Yes.
Vinod, can you just show the main method for 1 minute? I just want to see the move function.
Yeah. First time I'm doing animal.move. Second time I'm doing dog.move.
Okay.
Even though dog is a class of dog, it is still calling the animal.move.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Vinod, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
First is, how do we use super.move?
I'll come to that. And whatever I've explained so far, are you clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
one more question is there. What, like here we are creating separate classes, and in the main we are creating objects. Can we still create objects in the classes, like
Yes,
animal?
you can. Yes, you can. But is it necessary? Only the scenario will tell. Whatever scenario you have, say if you're going for a project, right, and in that project if you have such a design, the Java is not stopping you, but it's up to you to decide whether to put it or not. In this case, animal having another animal within it, it's not needed. Dog having another dog inside it, it's not needed. So
okay, so the
Java is not stopping you. Java is not stopping you. You can, but you have to think about whether it is right or wrong.
Okay, so the best practice is to create the main method outside everything, so that we can call objects in that.
It is the best practice because it is easy to understand, as simple as that. There's nothing like hardcore rule like this is how we should do, or nobody's going to force you. But the easier it is to understand, everyone is see. In real world, what happens is, you know Microsoft Word, right?
Yes.
Since when is the Microsoft Word working? Since almost like 12 years or 20 years.
Yeah.
So not 20, I would say 30, 40 maybe, who knows, right? Since 30, 40 years, don't you think at least hundreds of people would be working on it?
Yes.
And how many lines of code do you think they would have written? Millions and millions of lines of code, correct?
Yeah.
If I put you into that project, how would you feel? What happened?
Yeah, totally lost. I mean, because I won't be able to understand. Yeah.
Exactly. So for that reason is why we have comments in the code. First point. Okay. So that you can read and understand what is going on, why you have written this, why you have done that. Okay. Second point, looking at the code, it should be easy to understand. I can very well make this C. I could have done this dog equal to D or A, and F equal to fish equal to Z. And if I say Z dot move, and if I say maybe B dot move instead of dog, I'll say B dot move. Here, these two are close by. In a huge millions of lines of code, this will be hidden somewhere here. What is this doing? You won't even understand. Correct?
Okay. Yeah.
But when I say animal.move, now you are able to understand. Dog.move, you are able to understand. Because it is readable. That is what we are doing. Write your code as readable as possible so everyone understands what is happening. All right?
Yes.
Anyone still having doubts?
Yeah, Vinod. So I have a question.
Yeah, Rishi.
So if you mention override in the method that is written in the parent class, will the compiler can jump to the method in the parent class instead of going to the base class?
It won't. Even without the keyword, it won't.
Okay.
So, can you repeat your question? I think you were a little confused.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, the same keyword question. So if you mention
If you have it or if you
override
don't
in the
have it, it
move.
doesn't matter. I'll prove that 1 minute. So,
Okay.
just about the annotation, you are not sure, right? So I'll just remove this.
Yeah.
Run this.
Because you said
now,
that compiler.
1 minute. 1 minute here. Let me finish. So animal is called for the first time. Dog is called for the second time. That is because in our main entry, animal is called here and dog is called in this line. Okay.
Okay.
Because we are overriding it. So just to prove your point, even if I remove this, the same behavior should be there. Yeah, you can see the same thing.
I mean, if you add an override keyword in the base parent class for the move method, so does the compiler, based on the keyword, can pick up that the method that I need to call, because the dynamic binding is happening, right? So
yeah, the compiler is much more informed. That's all.
Okay.
So if some people have not understood what this is going to do, just ignore it. It's not that much important. Okay. But just remember, @override is a better practice, is a best practice. Okay. So now, if I have this @override, I'll tell you one more advantage. By mistake, see, by mistake, if I don't have this, and by mistake, if I just do a move one here, it's a typo mistake, but the compiler will not show you any error. You'll be wondering what's happening. I have overridden the move, nothing is happening. But you forgot that the spelling is wrong. Or you put a double E. But what happens when we put that annotation? Now the compiler will tell you, no, you're doing something wrong. Check your spelling or something. See?
Oh, got it. Okay, thanks.
So it's optional, but please do it. Clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on. So now, so far you have understood this, right? Let me go back to my main here. So far you have understood this, right?
Yes.
Now, let me take the next example. Now, Vinod's asset. You know what is asset, right? It's
yes,
a property, whatever belongs to me. Okay. Now, Vinod's asset equal to parents' asset. Correct?
Yes.
Now, if I make my own property, then it will be Vinod's asset will be parents' asset plus Vinod's asset. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Now, if the same thing, I change this to move.
Move.
So I want to call parents move also and Vinod's move. What do I do now? That is when the super function comes into picture. What I'll do, I will, instead of this here, I'll say super dot move and pass in the same speed. Now observe what happens. Animal is called twice. For the first time only animal will call. When I say dog dot, so when I say dog dot move, animal is also called and dog is also called. So just to confirm, I'll just comment this line for now. I'll call only the dog dot move and run it. You can see first it calls the super, that is the parents move, and then its particular own move. Clear? So if you want to have inherit something you already have and you want to add on some features to it. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that time you will do this.
Super.
All right? So you understood the super keyword?
Yes.
You understood this keyword? You understood @override? You understood what is inheritance?
Yes.
And some practical scenarios where you would be using it. Everything understood? When move will be called, when the parents move would be called. All this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Vinod,
Doubts, you can ask me now.
From the dog, if we just wanted to call, we have overridden it. Even then, we wanted to behave the way the animal behaves instead of dog. So is it possible to do it?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
When I have the overridden function for overridden move for dog, but then when something happens and dog is not able to move the way dog moves, so it has to at least move the way animal moves. Is it possible to do it?
You just need not should avoid overriding. You should not override it.
No, I've overridden it, but then if from the dog move, if I have to call animal move.
1 minute, Pratibha. Can you turn left and right at the same time?
No, I
You
cannot
have to
turn
decide
left and
whether you
right
want
at
to
the
turn
same
right
time.
or left, right?
But yeah, well, what I'm asking is, if I'm not able to turn right, can I turn left? Is it possible to do it?
Yeah, you can do it. So
How?
you write your if condition. If not possible to turn right, whatever, then super.
Okay.
If speed greater than 10, only then call the super.
Okay.
You can do that.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
So in this case, it won't be called. See, animal.move is not called. All right.
Okay.
Everyone clear? Anyone having doubts? Shivanandini, are you clear?
Yes.
How about Swapna? Swapna, Moharana?
Yeah, I'm clear. Yeah. Thanks, Vinod. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's move on. Coming back to the slides. I have covered the this keyword and the super keyword. Okay. Super is used to call the parent. This is used to call the current. All right.
Yes, Vin.
Now, how this is called, you can, I just have a small example. You have a local variable called color and the input variable called color. Now I also explained why do we use such a practice, even though it is confusing. Why do we do it? Because it is easy to understand. When you do a dot, it's easy to understand. If I just keep it as C, it may not be easy to understand, right? So we give it the same name, so it is much easier to read. You understood the practical reason why we do this, right?
Yes.
And here we can, if you have some function, if you want to return or if you want to set it, see here you cannot do color.color because there are two colors here, so you have to do this dot color. But if you have a function like a get function which is just having one variable color, this is optional. So if you do a this dot color or just a color, both are same. Just see the slide for a couple of minutes, you'll understand. If you have any questions, you can speak up.
Vinod, can you repeat that once? In the function.
In the function, there is nothing. Yeah. See, when I have the see here, there is a set color, right?
Right.
If I give the variable this variable name as just something,
okay.
When I say color, it is only one color.
Right.
So for example, if there are two people by name Vinod in this classroom, I have to say something like Vinod 1, Vinod 2, something like that, right? Or maybe a Tamilian Vinod or a Kannada speaking Vinod, Kannadiga Vinod, right?
Yeah.
So like that, this has to be it becomes compulsory if you have
more than one. Yeah, right.
So to refer to the current class, you use this, and if you to refer to the local variable, you don't use this.
Okay, but when we are getting it, or like when we are returning something,
it becomes optional. You can use it.
Okay.
Even though there is a one Vinod, I can say Tamilian Vinod. So it becomes optional. That's it.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
In the second method, get color, it says return color. No, which color does it refer to? Private string color, the global variable. That one only. No.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on, I'm having an example of super. So there is a super class and a subclass. I mean, the super class is just the name they have given here to understand. So this is our animal class. Super class is our animal class. Dog class is the subclass here. Okay. Yes. And if you have a method, print method, you can call it like super.print method first. And here you can create a subclass, and when you print, actually what will happen? I have explained this in the dog and animal. All right. All right, guys. Shivanandini or Selvanandini, sorry.
Yes.
Yes,
All right.
Manoj.
So I want everyone to make a note of this. I mean, handwritten notes, or whichever you are using, just note down all these things. Definitely, a lot of questions you can expect from this inheritance. What will happen if you do this? What will happen if you do that? What does this refer to? Can you do that? Can you do this? All these things will come. Okay. Moving on.
Yes.
Yeah.
For this program, it prints the superclass printed in superclass as well as printed in subclass. Two outputs are there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. It's okay. Shall we take a 5 minutes break?
Yes, Manoj.
Yeah. So the time currently is 7:07, right? 7 p.m. Yes. No.
Yes.
Shall
Yes.
we meet at 7:15?
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let's proceed. Okay. Now we saw inheritance. We saw this and the super keywords, right? Now
Yes.
let's see this and super functions. Okay. Now this is a function to call the constructor. Okay. Now we are using with the braces. You can call the super constructor, that is the parent's constructor, by saying super open brace close brace, and this will refer to the current constructor.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And you can just go through this document maybe during the while watching the video again. I've just added some points, but it is just that I'm referring to the constructor. When I just use the keyword with the open brace and close brace, I'm referring to the constructor. Remember that. Okay.
Yes, Manoj.
And one important thing is the constructor, you cannot use both. You should either use super or this.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, Manoj.
Okay. Now coming to yesterday's example. Yesterday we saw, I asked you to write 3 constructors, right? Now, if you are talking about the example about Microsoft Word, I told you there will be huge millions and millions of lines of code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is the best practice or a thumb rule for writing good code? The thumb rule is write as less as possible. That is the thumb rule. If you write too many lines of code, it is not a good practice. Keep it as small as possible. The reason we need to do that is because the more lines of code you write, you would repeat yourself, and that would lead to trouble. If you want to change, you have to change it in multiple places. If you have a problem, you have to fix it in multiple places. If you keep it simple and do it in just one place, you can just fix it in one place. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yes. On the same lines, both the code I have shown here on the left and on the right, both will work. But the code on the right is a good code, the code on the left is a bad code. And how to achieve it? We are using it with the this function. Are you able to see?
Yes.
Observe the this function here and here. So we are doing the same 4 steps everywhere. We are achieving it with the this keyword. Is this clear to everyone?
Vinod, in the first empty constructor, we are passing only 2 arguments in the this.
So this will call this one. This keyword will call this rectangle, and when you pass 4 parameters, it will call this rectangle. So this is calling this is calling this. It's a constructor looping. I mean, calling one after the other. All right.
So in the good example, the third constructor with 4 parameters, 4 arguments, no, they will all be equal to 0, right?
If you're calling it with empty, yes. If you're calling it with some values, then they'll take their own values. See, to the outside world, it is still the same, however you implement it. When you say rectangle equal to new rectangle, if you don't pass anything, it will take 0. If you pass some value, it will take some value. You're just doing code optimization inside your class, not outside your class.
We know they have a question in this constructors. You said like in the program, the one which you have given, you asked that the second constructor should pass on the second values it receives and adds a value for the third. How do you call the second constructor values from the third constructor? Can you show me that?
How do you call the second from the third? No, you don't do that. You call.
Like in suppose I have, in this example, I have rectangle with the int width and int height. You have given 2 parameters.
One minute. So if I ask you, where are you from? What do you answer?
The place I am. Like.
Tell me the answer.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago.
And where exactly in Chicago?
It's in Waukegan.
And what is your house number?
Yeah, it's 561.
Okay. Now, if I asked you the same question, you could have told all the 3 at once. Yes. Or you could have at least told first 2. Or you could have just said Chicago, right? Yes. On the same lines, when you're creating a rectangle, you decide to pass nothing, then by default something is created. Okay?
Okay.
If you pass few parameters, only with those the remaining are defaulted. If you pass all the parameters, everything gets a value. Is that clear?
Yes, Vinod.
Everyone, are you clear?
Vinod, actually what I'm asking is, see, in the first constructor we are passing 0, 0.
Yes.
So that's what is getting passed on to the second constructor. Int width is equal to 0, int height is equal to 0. Correct? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, inside second one, this of 0, 0, width, height, it's calling, right? So won't that be this of 0, 0, 0, 0? Because int width, int height are being passed 0, 0, right?
Yeah, correct.
So finally, a third constructor has all the values as 0. This dot x equals 0, this dot y equals 0, this dot width is equal to 0, with this dot height is equal to 0. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, thank you. That's what I want to understand.
So actually, do you understand the left constructor, which is bad?
Yes.
The left and the right one behaves exactly the same. It is just that I have written an optimized code. I have less number of lines of code. I am not repeating this dot x equal to 0, this dot x equal to 0, this dot x equal to x. I'm not repeating that. That is the only difference. Say one fine day, you decide rectangle has to have a property called color. Right? Now,
yes,
to initialize it to default to white color, you have to write it in 3 different places in all the 3 constructors. Do you agree on the first time, on the bad side? If I have a new parameter here, call it color, and if by default I want to always make it white, I have to make it white here, I have to make it white here, then I have to set the color here. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Instead, if I do it here, I can do it in just one line here. Agree? So anytime, any given code, be it constructor or be it anything, you should not repeat your code. If you're repeating your code, it is a bad code. Be it constructor, be it function, be it class, be it anything. Do not repeat your code. If it is a functionality, put it into a function, call it multiple times. That is why we have a function, right? Otherwise we could have just ignored the function, write all the code one after the other, millions and millions and millions of lines of code. If you have something repeating, you put it into a function, call it. And if it is a constructor, you can do it with this keyword. Clear, everyone? It's an important classification. You need to understand this. Clear?
Yes, Vinod.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah, moving on. The same holds true for super. And this is the example. Instead of repeating, we just call it super. Basically, I told you super is actually going to call. So if you want to have a functionality of your own and have the functionality of the parent, use the parent's C. You could have instead copied the code from the parent's class and pasted it into your child class, right? Let me come back here. So our animal has a move. So I could have copied this one and put it into my animal, into my dog, sorry. Instead of calling super, I could have pasted it here. It is all one and the same, right? But if I decide one fine day to change something here, I'll have to change dog also here, correct?
Yes.
So instead, calling it this way is better because you change it in one place, everywhere it comes. Is it clear?
Yes, Vinod.
All good so far? Everyone has understood?
Yes, Vinod.
Good.
Yes.
Let's proceed then. Now coming to what is a static, I've covered all the topics on inheritance. Anyone having any questions on inheritance? No one? No questions on inheritance? All good?
No, we're not.
Okay, now let's move on to the topic of static with instance. Static methods actually can be directly called without creating an instance. You know that, right? So I have also mentioned Java Virtual Machine calls the main method with a static keyword, right? Sorry, there is
Yes,
some background noise. Are you able to get me?
Yes, Vinod.
All right. So these are some points on static. The same for, I've just explained it here. Okay. So if you have a calculator and if you have a function print sum as a static method, okay, it is actually, you can call it by just the name of the constructor, name of the class. You need not create an instance like new calculator.
We can also call it without calculator. No, we can also say.
No, this is a different class.
Okay.
This is different class. This is different class. If it is
Okay.
same class, you can do that. If it is a different class,
Okay.
you can just give the class name and then followed by the function name. Clear to everyone so far?
Yes, Vinod.
Yes.
Anyone having doubts on this slide?
No, not.
So if it is the same class, you can directly call the function name. If it is not, then you can give the class name dot. You need not create an instance of a calculator to do this. That is the advantage of static. All right. Now the instance method. Instance has to be created with a new keyword always. Okay, and instance can call static methods and static variables, and instance method and instance variable. But static can call only static, not instance. Correct?
Correct.
So this is also clear to everyone.
Yes, Vinod.
Anyone having doubts? All right. So this is a simple example what we have done so far. So we have an instance, and then from the instance we call the function, because this is not static. All right.
Yes.
You know, that real life, when do we make like if we are working in a company, when do we make a method static or keyword static?
I'll come to that. So far so good, whatever I've covered?
Yes.
Okay, here's your answer. So just go through the slide once, then I'll do. Shall I? Have you gone through this? Have you understood? Shall I repeat it?
Yes.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
sorry, who's interacting with me? Who said this?
Sudarshini.
Yeah, Sudarshini. Now I ask you a question. What is your name, Sudarshini?
Sudarshini.
And what is your mother tongue?
Tamil.
All right. So now, if I ask the same questions to others, will they give the same answer?
No.
So what is happening? You are referring to your own context. So
Yes.
your own instance. So when you are referring to your own instance, go with the instance method. Now, if I ask you, what is 1 plus 1?
2.
If I ask the same thing to everyone, will they give the same answer?
Yes.
Because it is not instance specific, correct?
Yes.
Then go with static. Is this clear to all? If you are referring something towards the instance, only instance methods can access it. If you have something very generic where you don't even need to refer to the instance, go with the static. 1 plus 1 means the same to everyone. So if you have a function to add something, it is same everywhere. Just go with static. If you are referring to what is your something specific, what is the, I mean, dog dot move, all these things are not generic, right? For dog it is different, for maybe for dog which has a different, I mean, it could be for a car, it could be different, for a four-wheeler car it could be different, for a six-wheeler car, for a six-seater, five-seater, it could be specific instance wise, right? For those things, don't go specific. Go with the instance. I mean, go with the instance, not with the static. Is this clear? Have I answered your question? When to go with static, when to go with the instance? Everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh my god. This was a difficult subject. I think I have given a good example, right? Is my
Example is good, Vinod.
Yeah. So this you have to bring it to the coding context. Okay. Now coming back here. Now bark doesn't mean the same to all the dogs, right? It could be different. If it is a dog, it could do. If I say bark to, I mean, you have to think first when you are designing your code. Is it going to use something specific of its own instance? So say for example, what is the length of the string? Is it constant? No, it depends on the which string it is, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not static. What is the starting character of the string? It is not specific. It is specific to its own instance. It's not constant always, correct?
Yes.
What is the name of the class string? String, correct? So that can be static. Whichever string it is, its class name is constant. So that can be something. I mean, I'm just coming with some example. Okay. So whatever is generic, just to make it simple, you create multiple instances of something, and if you think all the instances will carry the same value, make it static. If it is something everyone is going to keep something for their own, then keep it not static. Okay.
Yes, Vinod.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you something. If you don't understand also, please ignore me. Okay. All right. Shall I?
Yes, Vinod.
If you create a class for human, okay, and you want to create a variable nationality, okay,
Okay.
then the nationality should be an instance. It should not be static, correct? Because every human has
Correct.
their own nationality, correct?
Correct.
If you create a class by name Indian and if you create a class by name Chinese, then nationality is always Indian, nationality is always Chinese, correct?
Yes.
Go with static. Is it clear? The
Yes,
same nationality, based on how you decide, how you design your code, can be static or can be yes. It's up to you. When you're doing it on the scenario, if you think all the instances are going to say take the same value, go with static. If you think no, go with instance. Clear?
Yes, Vinod.
All right. This was a bit difficult task. I somehow managed to explain to everyone. Somehow always everyone has a question on this. Somehow I managed to all you people to understand.
Example are good.
Yeah, hopefully.
Really good example.
Okay. When they go to the interview, right? Don't give the same example, please. Then they'll find out. You all are from the same group. So come up with your own examples, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. If you're not able to go with the same example, that's okay. But try to come up with something new. Okay. The same holds true for variables and the methods. So that's what I've explained here. Okay. And static has its advantages and disadvantages. Here, see this. I have two dogs, one Rex and one Fluffy.
Yes.
Okay. If I keep the name as static, which I shouldn't be, but I have kept it, what is going to happen? In the constructor, I'm setting the name. First time it is Rex, next time it is Fluffy. But when I say Rex.print name, Fluffy.print name, both the times it is coming Fluffy. That is because it is static. There can be only one instance of it. Clear?
Vinod, I have a question. Why does it come out as Fluffy and
One
not
minute.
Rex?
You're clear with this one? This is a normal example where you have a dog class. You have Rex and Fluffy. First time you set Rex and next time you set Fluffy. Now Rex.print name will print Rex, Fluffy.print name will print Fluffy. But when you say a variable to be static, all the instances of it will carry the same value. When I say what is 1 plus 1, everyone will give the same answer. But when I say what is your name, everyone will give different answers. Correct? Every instance has its own value. Then don't make it static. As simple as that.
Well,
So,
Vinod, I have a question adding to her. Like you said, yes, when a static, it is printing Fluffy. But my question is, if it is a static, it should be Rex. Why it is going to Fluffy? Why is taking the name Fluffy?
That was my question too.
if
Yeah.
it is static,
Can you go to the static?
It should read only one value.
1 minute,
Yeah,
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute.
Static doesn't mean it is a constant.
1 minute, 1 minute. I'm just searching somewhere. I had written that. Yesterday, okay, let me not go there. Let me not confuse you. I'm just thinking of okay, how to explain. When you say static, right?
Yes.
You mean to say that every instance of that particular class will have the same value.
Yes.
In my example, 1 plus 1 meant same to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On the same lines, if you have a variable and that variable will also be the same for everyone.
Yes.
Okay. So for example, if you have a variable by name capital of India, for everyone it is Delhi.
Yes.
Keep it static.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a variable by name capital, it could be different. For India, it could be Delhi. For US, it could be different. For China, it could be different. For everyone, it could be different.
Okay.
So you decide if the value has to be same across all the instances of that object. Then keep it static. If not, don't keep it.
Okay.
And the example I'm showing you is a mistake. Don't wonder what is happening. It's a mistake.
Okay.
Not this one. You
fluffy
shouldn't
bit.
have done this, but you have done this, is what I'm telling.
Okay.
You shouldn't have made this name as static because name can be different for different instances. But by mistake, if you do it, whichever is the latest will be taken.
Okay.
That answers then. Whichever is the latest, that is taken. It's fluffy.
Yes.
So
Yes.
fluffy is taken. Okay, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay, move on. Instance, it will be Rex Fluffy. This you understood. Finally, my last slide for today. Access modifiers. Okay. Now, what is a public?
It's accessible globally and locally.
Okay, let me not show you the slide. Let me explain you first. Let's go back to our code. Okay, now what is public? Or let's start from the lower end. What is private?
If it's private,
Animal is a superclass, right? Animal is a superclass, correct?
Yes.
If I write private void function 1, okay, now I can call this within this class. If I say function 1, I can call this, no errors. Okay, I'll just run this. I'll just move this console to the right. I'm not calling this animal move, right? So let me comment this. I don't want the dog. Yeah, animal move. So function 1 is called. Clear so far? We have a private function and we are accessing it here. If I come to my child class, okay, and somewhere here within the move, I try to function 1. It doesn't know what is function 1. Clear? Clear, guys?
Yes.
On the same lines,
Yes.
even if I go to the main class and if I do animal dot He doesn't know function 1. Correct? Samira, maybe you can mute yourself. Sorry. Yeah. So Sudarshini, are you clear?
Yes. Yes, Vinod.
Okay. Now you know what is private. Now coming back, let's make this function protected. Next level.
Vinod, sorry to ask this. Like, can you give this example in a fresh class? Like, this is quite confusing.
Okay, fine. Then I think I'm done for the class now. So far for inheritance, you have understood everything, right?
Yes, Vinod.
Good. So far good. So maybe we'll cover this topic in next class.
No, I think she is asking like put it in a new class. Like this class we are putting in Java. That is confusing her. Yeah.
Fine, I misinterpreted.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, I'll do that. So I'll create a new thing. I'll close all this. I'll just do undo here. I'll just go here. I'll comment this line. I'll just confirm everything is working fine. Yes, I'll close all. Okay, we'll do a fresh start. New
Package.
package. Okay, package here. Package. Call the package name as maybe access
Modifier.
example. Okay. Access modifiers example. I'm creating a new class and making it entry point. I'm just naming it something, entry point. Okay, and I make sure I click this to get public static void main, and to be sure I just do a system.out first time to make sure this is what is calling. So all good. So far we have a package with this, right? Now let me create my first class, call it my parent example. Parent example, I'll just name it parent example. Okay. Now I'll have a function. Let me call this function to be function 1. Okay. I'm sorry. I need to declare it. Public public void function 1. Clear? I'll say system dot out dot println function 1. Okay, and I'll go to the entry point, create an instance of my parent example. Parent example, I'll make it p equal to new parent example. Now I say pe dot you get function 1. So far clear to everyone?
Yes, Vinod.
Yes, Vinod.
The moment I make this public to be private, you cannot call this function 1, because public variables can be accessed outside the class, but not private variables cannot. Private functions, private variables, none of them can. So that is what is access. You're giving a different access. All right.
Okay, Vinod. Clear. Thank you.
Now coming to the next point. Public, private, you understood. Now where was my slide? There's one
protected.
Hi Vinod.
Protected, I'll tell you. There is a default modifier.
Vinod, I have a question regarding the private. So if I have a base class and I make the constructor.
No, I'll come to that. I'll come to that. As of now, you understood with the instance. For the parent-child relation, I'll explain everything again.
Okay, thanks.
So this much you have understood so far, right?
Yes, Vinod.
Yes.
Okay. Give me a minute. I'll just go through the. Different. Okay. I'll come up with an example. You understood what is public, you understood what is private. Let's try protected. Sorry. Okay. Now, protected also you can call like this. Okay. Just to confirm, all good, function 1 is called. All right. Because my entry point is here. Now, I will go to my new package. I'll right click here, right click, new package. Maybe I'll say test pack as my new package. Here I'll create a new class, call it entry to, and make it public static void main finish. Here I'll say system.out.println. I'll just say entry point 2 is called. Okay, just confirm if this is working. Entry point 2 is called. Now what I'll do, I will create an instance of my class which is inside a different package. That is parent example. I'll say parent example. Okay, the moment I click and press enter, you can see it is importing access example.parent example. Do you see that? This line got added. So from this package, we can add this package and thereby get the example here. PE equal to new so far so good.
Can you please explain the protected again?
Yeah, I'm not done with the protected. I'm just telling with let me stick on to public. Okay, now here I can still say PE dot function 1 and this will work fine. So outside the package also I can access function 1. Inside the package also I can access function 1. The only difference is because it is outside the package, I need to import that package. Simple, right?
Okay.
Now comes the question. When we are talking about access modifiers, when a function is public, it can be accessed within the package and outside the package. Okay. For example, if you have a secret, or maybe if you have if you have a vehicle, maybe your car, okay, you would give it to anyone within your own home, right? You may give it to your dad to drive, you may give it to your son to drive, your husband to drive,
Yes.
or your wife to drive, correct? But if some stranger from outside comes, you would not give your keys, correct?
Yes.
That is nothing but protected. You want to give it accessible to everyone within the home, but not outside world.
Okay.
So make it protected. So Still, this is good. P.function is good, but here you should get error because this is a stranger. This is from the outside package. Yes, no? Are you able to understand? This will give a compiler error. It won't run anymore. But when you try to access it within the package, just like the public, it will work. Clear?
Okay. Yes.
If you want to keep private to you, if you have a bike or a car and you don't want to give it to your husband or a wife also, keep it private. So the entry point also cannot access it.
Okay.
You understood what is public, what is private, what is protected?
Yes, sir.
All good so far? Shall I proceed with my next example?
Yes, Vinod.
Now the same thing holds true for inheritance also. So let me go back here. Let me make this public so that I don't get any errors. Okay, I'll just run this. I'll go here. I'll just run this. No errors. Okay. Now I'll go to the example here. I'll create the next function. Call it public void function 2. System, copy this. Entry point. What entry point? This is the parent class. I'll create another class. New class. Call it child class. And inherit it from parent example. Okay, now in this, if I write a new function, some public void some function, you write this. Inside this, if you want to access it, right, you can say super dot function 1. In fact, you need not have the super. You can directly call it function 1. Correct?
Yeah.
Now, here, this function 1, sorry, I need to use a function 2. I was talking about function 2, right? Yeah, function 2. Okay, this is still accessible. All right?
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Here, if I make this protected, then all its children can still access it. There is no error. Here also, there is no error. Here also, it will still work. Okay. The moment I make it private, right? Protected means yourself and your child, kids, can access it. If you make it private, even your children cannot access it. Your subclasses cannot access it. Here, you will start seeing error. Clear?
Yes, sir.
All good?
Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
The same thing, I'm explaining it in a slider. Private is accessible only inside the class. Outside package, subclass, world, nothing. Okay, ignore the world now. Let's not complex ourselves and ignore the no modifier. That is the default. Just talk about the public, protected, and private. Okay, private is accessible inside the class, nowhere else. Protected is accessible inside the class, inside the package, inside the subclass, but outside world, no. Outside world, I mean our entry point was this is outside world. Okay.
So Vinod, I have a question.
Let me finish 1 minute. So public is accessible anywhere. It's like anyone can take it and use your car. That's public. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. Now go ahead with the question.
So if I have a constructor which is private in the base class, but I have other methods in the base class which are public. So if I want to access those public methods from my uh, inherited class, the child class, can I do that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
So if I have a constructor in the base class which is private, but I have other methods
Sorry,
in
1
my,
minute. You're wrong there, telling that constructor always has to be public. Are you not aware of? Constructors always have to be public. You cannot make it private.
oh, so the constructor cannot be declared private?
Yeah. It's a compile error.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions? All good so far?
Yes, Vinod.
Okay.
So Vinod, as soon as I will declare it as private, I'll be getting a compile time error. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, but actually I've tried and it is showing me. It is not showing me the error.
Impossible. It will definitely show you error. Maybe you didn't give the same name as the class name.
Okay.
If you don't give the same name as a class name, it becomes a function, not a constructor.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So before we move on, one last question and then assignment, and then I'll close the class. Okay.
Vinod, I have a question. So access modifiers are as same as access specifiers and access controllers, is it? All the three are same or they're different? Because
I don't know what is the other two. It should be same, I think.
okay, because
Can you
some
Google?
okay.
Yes, access specifiers and modifiers are same.
Access
Same.
control. There's something called access controllers also.
It's all the same. Anything you talk about access, usually it comes to public, private, protected.
Okay.
Vinod, this table I find a little confusing. I don't understand. So when we say
1 minute. If you don't understand, please ignore it. Okay, you understood this example?
oh well, not properly, but I will watch the video and understand.
Yeah. To keep it simple, anything private is private to just yourself. Something like your own secret. So when I say yourself, its own class. Outside the class, nobody can access it. When I say protected, it is something one level above. It is accessible to you, your children, and within your own package. To the outside strangers, no. And when something is public, it is open to the world, anyone can access it. As simple as that. Just 3 levels.
Okay.
So we know that actually it doesn't give any error if you type private the constructor. It doesn't give any error actually.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm also not seeing that.
Yes, I too faced the same thing. It did not show me any error and it compiled the output. So that was my doubt I wanted to ask at the end of the session. Like, because everywhere you used public constructor name, since you mentioned for the assignment that the constructor is nothing but overloading. So I thought it must be private methods within the same class, and I proceeded the assignment that way and it worked. So is it possible for you to check my assignment and confirm on whether it's in the right path or
I'm sorry. You can have a private constructor, but if you have it, the point is you cannot use it. You cannot create an instance out of it. So when I say new parent example, right, it will give error. Not that it will give error here. I mean, I think I lost it. Where is that?
No, do you mean to say that the constructor should be used in a different class and you have to call it from the
What is the usage of a constructor? Just that when you're creating an instance of it, you're using it, correct? And if you don't even let to create it, how would you use it?
Okay, when you use it in a child, when you use it, when you create an instance, then it will give an error probably.
Yes,
Because
that's what
it's
I mean.
private. Okay, okay.
So,
Right.
Vinod,
Yeah.
my question was, if you, like, if some class is extending the other class which has the private constructor, and I want to use the other methods in the base class which are public. So I'll create the object of the child class.
Okay.
And we'll call the public method in the base class.
1 minute. Rishu, I think I'm sorry to say, but I may confuse others while they listen to what I say now. So let me not tell that. I think whatever question you have it, right? If you can try it yourself with examples, you will better understand it. Okay. And even if not, maybe separately you can send me an email and we can discuss it outside this classroom, because I don't want to confuse others.
Okay, Vinod, got it. Thanks.
So let me keep it simple. Private is only to yourself or to the class. Protected is only to yourself and your close ones. That is yourself. That is your instance, your subclasses, or your package. Outside the package, it is still not accessible. Public is accessible anywhere. 3 simple levels. Don't get confused. Keep it simple. And if you have some specific questions, please do it yourself, and then you will see what I mean. Okay, so the constructor here definitely can be private, but when you're creating instance by saying new of that object, you'll start seeing errors. So this much I think you can everyone has to understand. Outside this, if you have any questions, please try it yourself first. Then maybe you can write an email to me and we can discuss, or maybe during our workshop we can discuss. But this is much is good enough for interviews.
Sure, Vinod.
Yeah. All right. I think I have assignments now. Time for assignment. It should be a simple one. If my explanation is good, then it should be a simple one.
Okay.
Okay. Give me a minute. Give me 1 minute, please. I'm just putting the assignment into the folder.
Okay.
Six. I've already put it into the drive. I'll show it here. Give me a minute. Something went wrong. Okay, give me a minute. Yeah, do you see the assignment here? How do I increase this here? Just
Can you
go
please
through
make
this
it full?
Yeah. Is it okay now?
Yes, Vinod.
So this is your assignment. I'll just stop the recording. You can ask me any questions if you have.
We know the small